Good evening. I hereby call to order the April 28th, 2021 meeting of the Gaithersburg Historic District Commission. For the record, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this meeting is being remotely telecast, so please bear with any of the bumps in the road that we may encounter. For our roll call, please answer present when I call your name. Deputy City Attorney Frank Johnson.
Present.
Planner 2, Chris Berger.
Present.
Community Planning Manager Greg Mann.
Present.
Commissioner Rudy Morgan.
Present.
Commissioner and Vice Chairman John Roddy.
Present.
Commissioner Mary Jo LaFrance.
Present.
Commissioner Mark Feinstein.
Present.
And myself, Commissioner Chairman Dean Ventola, says present. We have a quorum, and Commissioner Morgan's role tonight is as a full commissioner. Next is our preliminary statement, which is as follows. This commission is empowered to meet and act under the Article 12 of the City Code of Gaithersburg. The technical qualifications of the staff of this commission and members of this commission are on file with the City of Gaithersburg, are available on request to any applicant, and are hereby made a part of the legal record of each and every application heard today. Each application heard today is considered on its own merits and is not to be considered as establishing precedent for any other application. Okay, does anyone have any conflicts of interest for any application being heard tonight? If so, please raise your hand and verbally indicate so. Yes, Mary Jo.
It's really a disclosure, not a conflict of interest. I just wanted to notify everyone that 98 Meem Avenue resides within the historic district that I live in.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? I see and hear no one. Okay, very good. All right. So first up, we have 3 historic area permits to review, also known as HAWPs, H-A-W-P-S. Please note that the members of the public will be invited to participate. Okay, and I think that there was none that I saw on the list other than the applicants themselves, but regardless, you can call in if you guys want. Okay, so the first one we have is HIST 8825-2021, which is the addition at 98 Meem Avenue in the R90, which is the medium density residential zone. May we have an introduction from staff, please?
Yes, if the tech team can pull up page 4. We're looking for page 4. So the subject property is a duplex that is non-contributing to the Chestnut Meem Historic District. As you can see, it's located on Chestnut Street and backs up to the railroad tracks. Staff notes that as a non-contributing property, the HDC is to be lenient in its review of the property per section 24-227.2b of the City Code. If we can go to the next page, please. And as you can see, it's a duplex. The applicant requests the HDC approve a 1-story, 232 square foot rear bedroom addition and entryway. The application comes before the HDC in accordance with section 24-227 of the City Code. Next page, please. The Chestnut Meem Historic District guidelines apply. The relevant section under house design elements is the first bullet, which reads, new, additional, and replacement construction work on existing houses should be compatible with the style descriptions of the contributing resources. And the third bullet also applies, mixing elements from different styles and periods is unacceptable. We can go to the next page, page 7. Under materials, the first bullet, the historic character of a property shall be retained and preserved. The removal of historic materials or alteration of features and spaces that characterizes a property shall be avoided. Next page, page 8, please. And to summarize this slide on windows, they are to be duplicated if possible on new construction. Next page, please, page 9. For roofing, which is the bottom half of the page, the materials is to be matched on the additions. Next page, please. And for additions, and this is, we're looking at the last paragraph on this slide, new work must harmonize with the character and scale of the existing house. The new work shall be differentiated from the old. It shall be compatible in height, scale, materials, elevations, texture, color, and details. And if we can go to the next page, page 11. And now I will turn it over to Phil Wessel, who designed this addition for his neighbor, Norma Velasquez.
Hey, good evening, commissioners. As Chris mentioned, I'm here representing the Velasquez family, who are the applicants this evening. In what I hope is a very sort of straightforward project here on one of the non-conforming resources. Currently, the duplex is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath duplex. The applicant has a growing family of young children, is looking for a little bit more elbow room, and is proposing this 1-bedroom addition to the rear. Little to none of this should be visible from the public right away. It is very much in keeping with if you the aerial on page 4. If you happen to notice, all of the other duplexes have had similar, if not larger, additions tacked onto them. Likely not with anybody's review over the last 40+ years. So this is attempting to be in line with that. It's a very sort of simple 1-story shed roof on a crawl space foundation, similar construction type to the rest of the house. Vinyl windows matching the size, shape, and detail of the existing, with a small wood frame porch and wood frame railing off the back. I can go to the next page. I'm not don't quite remember what the order is. As far as existing conditions, there is an existing actually 2-level deck. There's a step in the middle of it that covers the entire rear of the property that is going to be removed. The deck also covers the exterior crawl space access, as well as a gas meter that is built into the deck, as this has been added since the building was originally built. So this will be removed in its entirety. If you go to the next page, please. Here you can see the demolition and new work plans. The size of the addition has been sort of calibrated carefully to meet all of the setback requirements, keep it off the property line, and allow direct access to a new crawl space hatch. The gas meter is going to be relocated. All in all, a much better configuration of all the services and elements behind the house. Most of the applicant's entry and exit from the property, from their house, is through the end of the driveway into the backyard and up these stairs. There's a small entry an entry vestibule that's being added on, a bedroom, and a large walk-in closet. There will be only two window infills, one in the kitchen, one into the existing bathroom, that are on the rear of the house to facilitate this. The existing rear door will be removed and replaced with just a cased opening. So I think we can go to the next page and we can come back if there are any questions. Very sort of basic and straightforward framing and roof plans next. And then the rear and side elevations. So that is it in a nutshell, and I'm happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Now the public is now invited to speak. Do we know if there's anybody interested in speaking from the public?
I see no one.
Okay, very good then. All right, so let's. Let me also read the instructions in case anybody does want to call in. We can address you in a few minutes if you like. Okay, so to indicate that you want to make a comment, if you're on a computer or laptop, move your mouse to the bottom center of the Zoom window, and you should see a raise hand button pop up. Click on that button, and then we can call on you. If you are dialing in on telephone, please press *9 to raise your hand. And like I said, that you can do this now before we vote on the proposal. Okay, so next then we have the commissioners. So first up, when I call your name, please state your thoughts and questions for the applicant. First up is Commissioner Morgan.
I have one question. On the elevation plan, there's a 4-inch trim delineating a line of demarcation between the new and old elevation. You go to that sheet and take a look at that elevation. It's also shown on your perspective.
Yep.
Can you kind of go over that, Phil?
Yeah,
Just
sure.
explain what's going on with that? It's like something is not reading well to me.
Yeah, so the challenge we have here, and I know exactly what you're talking about. It's on Tech Team. It's on the last page that you had up, the elevations.
Yeah.
This is a very tight site. Obviously, it's a small lot, and so in order to make, we're trying to use the existing entryway. So if you see in elevation 1, that's looking at it from the rear.
Yeah.
The edge of that entry vestibule is in line with the existing edge of the house. So what you have, what you see in elevation 2, that's a challenge is you've got two in-plane materials that are meeting each other. You've got the existing asbestos shingles, which obviously are not something you can go to Home Depot and buy anymore. And you've got the new siding. And so the cleanest way that we've figured out how to address that sort of mashing of materials is we're outlining the existing line of the house with a piece of trim to transition. So it's all in plane. It's just a trim board that creates the transition between new vinyl siding, the new sheathing and house wrap, and the existing material, because we're not at this time proposing to reside the whole house. So this was the solution to that challenge.
Yeah, and I can see where the challenge that you were having with that. I mean, the addition is at the rear of the house, but taking into consideration that the side elevation could be seen from the street, so that trim, that's something that it's not communicating with me. I'm still struggling with that.
I mean,
I think that's the problem I have.
The location where this is, and I don't know, there was a photo at the very beginning showing the street view. This is well back from the street, and it's got landscaping by it. Really, the only way you see this elevation is if you are standing in the applicant's driveway.
That's right. That's true.
Okay.
So this is not something that is going to be at all visible. I mean, really, and sorry, I'm used to being able to draw on Zoom meetings. I'm sitting here moving my mouse like I do for work. Really, only the first half of that, the front half of that side elevation is at all visible from the street, unless you're on the driveway and in the applicant's property. So I understand what you're saying, that there isn't a good solution to this.
From the street.
Again, short of residing the whole house, there's no option to blend this in reasonably without taking this to a level of intervention that the applicant's not prepared to do.
Okay, all right, that's fair enough.
Okay, that you're done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, Commissioner Roddy?
Yes, Commissioner Morgan addressed more than adequately the one concern that I did have of the sidings.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Alphonse?
Fortunately, I am incredibly familiar with these duplexes. I've been inside at least 3 of them, if not 4. And just to give you a little back information, they're very small inside, a living room, no dining room, kitchen, 1 bathroom, 2 bedrooms. That's the standard setup. And if you go back to the first Tech, if you wouldn't mind putting up page 4, just for a moment. Great, thank you. I also wanted to point out that these are nice long lots, but very narrow. And to my knowledge, 102 Meem Avenue has had a 3rd bedroom for a very, very long time. And you can see from the overview that it is a little bit longer than 100, then 98, then the next one down, right? So the point about seeing it from the street I wanted to make with this overview as well, as you can see, there's only a driveway between 100 and 98. You will not be able to see that bedroom addition from the street. Philip is absolutely correct about that.
Mhm.
So I just thought this might be helpful. So all of you can understand the constraints of having such a small dwelling. I, for one, support the application. And thank you, Phil. I think you've done an excellent job designing it.
Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Commissioner Feinstein?
Yeah, I think as a non-contributing resource, I find it to be done sensitively, and I think will hopefully work well with the applicant.
Okay, very good. All right, now I'm next and last. I am in agreement with Rudy and John that that side, the way it's been handled gives me some room to discuss, let's put it that way. Can we go to the Axon, or I think it was an Axon, not perspective, but whatever it is, the drawing overview?
Was that tech team page 14, I believe? It was not 14. It was, let's go to the next page, page 15. Let's try that.
I believe it's page 11.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Wonderful. Okay. All right. What Rudy and John said, and I had a concern with also, is that, and by the way, let me first state, Phil, I don't have any problem with allowing this to go and be built. It's not a concern of mine. It's a non-contributing resource. I do agree that even though you can see a little of it from the side, from the driveway side, it's not a big issue. So based on that, I don't have any big concerns. I think the saddest part is that their backyard neighbors, the railroad tracks. So that to me, I wish there was something we could do about that. But the thing is, the way the, let me restate and get right to the quick. I think that I understand fully that you are creating something to maximize the space, which is no problem for me. Like, even if you extended it further out back, I have no concern with that. But I have some things that may help you, is probably the best way I can say it. One, and there's just two things. One thing is that you're going to have a little bit of a time to construct a plane in the same plane as the new plane in the same plane as the existing. So what I've often done to suggest to applicants is just step back the addition, just so you can get a shadow line, like even 4 inches. If you step that back, I'll say the new rear entry, just step it back, you're gonna have a whole lot less issue construction wise, and then visually you won't have that issue because you're not having one material trying to align, because you're never going to get the same alignment with the other. Stepping that back, like I said, just a few inches will solve that problem. The second thing is, I think what's really causing this problem is the separate shed roofs that you have. You actually now have 2 shed roofs, which are not even, which are different pitches of each other, and then of course a different pitch of the overall roof, the main house roof. So you have 3 roof pitches on there, and I think that that's what's causing you the dilemma to try and resolve those. And so here's what I'm thinking. One of the ways I handle this for my own work is I will use a cross gable. I won't use sheds like that. If you revise this to a double cross gable, then everything goes away. All your issues go away immediately. And I don't know if you know what I mean by a double cross gable.
I know exactly what you mean,
Okay.
because that's what I started with.
Okay.
And the applicant requested a shed roof instead of a cross gable.
No problem. Okay, I'm fine with that. If you guys, we don't have to go to it, but if you guys recall the aerial, there are a whole row of houses and they all have shed roofs. The one around the corner towards the top has the gable, which is, I was going to say, point out to you that that's an example that I'm thinking of. Anyway, so that's my only comment. So Commissioners open forum. Does anybody want to jump in with any other information or thoughts or questions? And Mary Jo.
I just one question for staff. Chris Berger, I was wondering, you didn't really do a setup for us this evening like usual. What do we know historically about why these duplexes were built? And were they for railroad folks? Were they for war returning veterans? What do we know about them?
From what I understand, they were built to is housing for the nearby Thomas Cannery, which is on the north side of the railroad tracks, which is not within the aerial view, but it's not too far off. And I believe they were built in the 50s, Phil. I don't know if you have more information on that.
That is about right. They are definitely not original lots. I've actually have hanging on my wall a copy of the 1896 survey for the whole neighborhood, and these were originally similar size lots as, I want to say, 104 Meem and down, where we have the, you know, similar third to almost half acre size lot that were subdivided. They actually were all owned by the John Wesley Briggs family that built 102 Chestnut, where we lived. Their family owned most of Meem Avenue, and I think had livestock on there at one point. And then the descendants of John Wesley Briggs sold off the lot in the 40s and 50s. And I'm assuming at that point they were subdivided and the duplexes were put in.
Okay, anyone else want to throw in any thoughts? Okay, before we go to a motion, what I'd like to do is ask whoever does the motion if you can have one condition, and it's a simple one, and that it just simply is, can the architect and the applicant consider having a double cross gable instead of a shed roof? Just consider it. I want like that to be in the record, and I'll be happy to vote for it. Okay, so is anybody interested in giving a motion? No volunteers?
I'll do the motion.
Thank you.
I move that that the Historic District Commission, based on the exhibits submitted in the staff report, findings and recommendations, grant HIST-8825-2021, the addition at 98 Meem Avenue, finding it to be in compliance with section 24-227.2 of the city code, with the condition that the applicant consider redesigning the rear addition with a cross gable, or setting the rear addition back 4 inches to create a shadow line if you can continue with the shed roof.
Okay, does anybody have anything else to offer, or is anybody not comfortable with that condition? I see in here no one. Okay, very good. All right, so I move for a second. The motion's been made. Move for a second. John, very good, thank you. All right, so let's go for a roll call on the vote. When I call your name, please say aye if you support the motion. Nay if you don't, or abstain if you wish. Commissioner Morgan.
Aye.
Commissioner Roddy.
Aye.
Commissioner Alphonse.
Aye.
Commissioner Feinstein.
Aye.
And Commissioner Ventola says aye. That's a 5-0, Phil. You win, baby.
Thank you very much,
Congratulations.
commissioners. Appreciate it.
Phil.
Our pleasure. It's nice seeing you again, as always.
Good seeing you all.
All right, so next then is we have another HIST-8864-2021 solar panels at 100 Central Avenue in the R90C, which is cluster development zone. May we have an introduction from staff, please?
Yes, if the tech team can pull up page 43, please. And the subject property is a single-family detached house that is individually designated and known as the Ridgely Royer House, and it was built in circa 1925. The applicant requests the HDC approve 29 solar panels on the roof. The application comes before the HDC in accordance with section 24-227 of the city code. Next page, please. The property was designated as historic in 2004. In 2008, the property was platted and the lot on which 100 Central Avenue is now located was reduced in size. If we can go to the next page, please. In 2009, the building underwent an extensive restoration, and the 3-story, 3,100 square foot addition was constructed. This is the L-shaped building in the back, or section that you see in the back there. The applicant now seeks to install solar panels on the roof of that 2009 addition. If we can go to the next page, please. The Historic District Design Guidelines for the Brooks, Russell, and Walker Historic District and individually designated sites apply. Located, if you look in the center of the Page here under solar panels, it reads solar panels, antenna, and electronic dishes are permitted on roof surfaces or in yards not visible from the public way. We can go to the next page, please, page 47. So this is a plan view that shows where the panels are going to be located. The 24 panels will be located on the rear roof, and they won't be visible from the public right away. 5 panels will be located on the west roof that is partially visible from Central Avenue, as you saw in the previous photo. Panels will be mounted slightly above the roof. Each panel will measure approximately 3¼ by 5½ feet, and the total coverage of the panels will measure 490 square feet. And now I will turn it over to Vernon Hunley of Trinity Solar Systems to go over the remaining plan sheets.
Welcome, Mr. Henley. You're on mute.
Click that. There you go. How are you all this evening?
Very well, thank you.
Okay. Basically, you can see from the page that he had pulled up there. Let me get the page numbers. I've got them. Yes. We would like to install those panels on that rear roof that is like south by southeast, and then the other 5 panels on the southwest roof. I do believe that the southwest roof is slightly visible from the roadway, but because of the panels are at such a height on that 3-story, and they're slightly above the roof, they go on a rail system, which is about 3 inches above the actual roof plane for those. In addition to that, we have some equipment that the inverter needs to be mounted. Typically, that is mounted next to the meter on the side of the, I guess the east by northeast side where you see on that drawing there, the AC/DC box that's there on the outside beside the meter, and then there's a required disconnect for that system that's required by the utility company. Pretty much a straightforward install for us. We do a little different than some of the other solar companies. We do not run conduit across the roof so it's visible from the street or the yard. We actually take that conduit underneath the array into the attic, and it'll come out, and you typically bring it out either a gable in or a soffit, and we take it in, tuck it in tight to the corner, either the corner board or the downspouts from the gutters. And then we take it over and up into that inverter so that we can convert that DC power coming from the panels on the roof through the inverter and feed AC power into the customer's grid tie-in. I'd be happy to answer any questions you all may have.
Well, thank you very much. Next, let's go to the public to see if there's anybody from the public that wishes to speak. To indicate that you want to make a comment, if you're on a computer or laptop, move your mouse to the bottom center of the Zoom window and you should see a raise hand button pop up. Click on the button and then we can call on you. If you're dialing in on a telephone, please press *9 to raise your hand.
I see no one.
Okay, very good. All right, so then next, let's hear from the commissioners. Want to call your name? Please state your thoughts and questions for the applicant. Commissioner Morgan.
I don't think I have any question or concern about this particular solar panel installation. I see Verna with Trinity Solar Company. I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to capture the sun, placing this on the southwest and the main majority of the panel on the south side. Yes. That's the recommendation basically when you're installing solar panel to capture the sun, is to place it at that particular location. And I think the 5 panels that you have on the southwest side,
Right.
Because of the location in the back, not driving on site to see the actual building is hard for me to determine and how much would be visible based on the requirement. But I think it will be okay. I don't see a problem with that. So
and I think if they bring up the picture back up of the actual
So that's page 45.
45, yeah.
There it goes.
So I'm standing, there's a sidewalk along there. If
Yeah,
you were to drive
yeah.
on the actual property, you
Yeah.
wouldn't see it at all.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't, again, to conclude, I don't have a problem with the request and installation. I think it's gonna be okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Commissioner Roddy?
Yes, Mr. Hunley, if I have one question. With regard to those 5 southwest facing panels. If they were placed on the parallel southwest facing roof, just south of the gable on the original part of the structure, would they be as visible?
I didn't, can you repeat the end of your question? I didn't know if it got cut
Yes,
off.
you're going to take those 5 panels
Mhm.
and you're going to place them just immediately to the south of the gable on the roof of the original portion of the house. And the question is, would they be less visible?
I think the reason we put them on that back one, because that was less visible from the street. When the picture that they had that we pulled up before was kind of taken from at the edge of the property line onto the property. But when you get out into the street, that back roof that we're on, the one that's labeled R7 there, I think it appeared to us that was less visible from the street. That's why we selected that southwest roof.
But you did consider the question.
Yes.
Thank you.
That was a good comment. All right, Commissioner LaFrance?
Been by this property multiple times, and I believe that it will not be that noticeable from the street. So I also approve of it being added to the newer edition. So I support the application.
Thank you. Commissioner Feinstein?
I have one question for Mr. Hunley. Was an analysis done? I know it's not the preferred location, but was an analysis done to understand how much power less you would get if you located those 5 panels on the east side of the roof?
Look, because of the roof obstructions, the vent pipes and such that are on that roof, there wasn't any way to get a layout on those array on that roof. Or we would typically, the east or west roof doesn't make much difference which one we use as far as production. But with all the roof obstructions that are on that R6 roof that was on that drawing we pulled up, it just make room for that 5-panel array to go on there.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't love the fact that even though it's minimally visible, it still is somewhat visible, but I understand it is an addition that was done not that long ago, so I don't think it's a complete deal breaker.
Okay, thank you so much. A quick question for Chris Berger. I thought when you read the requirements, did it say that solar panels are not allowed to be visible from the public way, or did I misunderstand that?
No, that's correct. And I addressed that in the staff report that if we want to take a hard,
I'm sorry, please continue. I'm sorry.
If we want to take a hard line approach, then they wouldn't be allowed. But my point was that they're raised up. It's 3 stories. They're on the end of that hip roof, and they're barely visible from the right of way. But of course, it's up to the HDC how they would like to handle those 5 panels.
So, so it's an indelicate way of asking, or an indelicate question. Are we saying that we're going to override city code on this if we vote to allow it?
That's a good question.
Yes, Mary Jo.
I don't believe it's city code we're looking at. I think we're looking at the historic district
guidelines.
Oh, so the Secretary of State standards?
Um,
The guidelines are usually based on that, yes.
But aren't they Gaithersburg's guidelines?
Yeah, for
And aren't they
individually
part of the city
designated.
code? I'm not trying to be a wise guy. Aren't they part of the city code?
There are different standards of rules and regulations. To say something's part of the city code, it would need to be part of the actual city code. In other words, that you would cite a section. Excuse me, I think I have allergies.
Oh, sorry.
But this is part of the guidelines. that are presented.
Okay,
What I would say is that I would suggest, because because the guidelines say what they say, if there is a deviation, that there be a basis for it. And, you know, it's entirely up to the commission, but the basis that Chris provided was that this was on the new addition, not on the original structure. But alternatively, the guideline does say it shouldn't be visible from the public way, and I think it's undisputed that at some level they are.
I don't know what to do with that. I mean, I appreciate everything you said. I have less of an idea what to do after that, because I don't ever want to go against city code just because of the idea that the next person down the line can say, well, why not me? And that's the thing I worry about. So I don't know. I guess I agree it's not going to be very visible. But I think it's a bad precedent if we just say, all right, well, we could, you know, overrule city code in some cases and not in others. Yes, Mary Jo.
I agree with your discomfort. I also
Best word.
had some discomfort myself. But I came to the decision, and maybe we need to make that clear when a motion is made. If we decide to approve it, we would have to say why. And we are not setting a precedent. As you read in your opening statement, this particular property with this particular newer addition, with this particular height set back from the main road, those are the reasons that I support the 5 panels. But really, I guess the question to ask is the installer company, the gentleman that's with us tonight, are those 5 panels even necessary? And then we don't have to worry about a painful or uncomfortable decision. What do you think, Dean?
Whether they're necessary.
Well, that's a question. Isn't that a question for Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Basically, when we design these systems, we take into consideration the total usage of that property for the year, their actual yearly usage, and we try to design a system that gives them 100% of their usage so that you're not paying a utility bill and paid for the solar too. I would have to go back and see. I mean, we could always eliminate those if that's what the commission decides. It just cuts back on the amount of usage, or it increases the amount of usage from the utility company that the customer would endure.
Yeah, so what's the use? Yeah. I think it's the city.
Well, let's go into commissioners open forum, even though looks like we're already there. Everybody just jump in with further thoughts on this, because this is a tough one to me. I don't think the solar panels are very noticeable. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the idea that how can we tell the next guy, the next applicant, no, when he's saying, okay, but look what you did here. That's always a concern for me. And I know it's not something that we have to worry about as far as the legal issues. Every project has its, you know, stands on its own.
Yeah.
But still, you know, so what are your thoughts? Please jump in, because to me,
If I could interject real quick,
Yes,
like Frank
please.
was saying, the design guidelines are not codified, so they are not city code. The code does outline the 5 findings for the criteria for decisions, and it does say one of the factors for that approval is the design guidelines. Now, again, that's because it's one of the factors doesn't mean it has to be based off just the design guidelines, right? So again, if you like Frank had said, right, if you can make a case that this is a unique situation and that it's, you know, the site situation, the aesthetics, you know, the look, you know, all these different factors, right, that it could still be approved, even though the guidelines say that it shouldn't be visible. The guidelines aren't the sole element, I say, or factor you review the application under.
yours and Chris's and Frank's comments are really good and helpful. Everybody, please, yes, Mark.
Yeah, I guess I understand what Greg is saying, but to some degree, I mean, they are, you know, our primary source of guidance. are the guidelines to some degree with what we're deciding to do. So I think, Dean, you brought up a great point with the way you're starting it. And I think there are some extraordinary circumstances where, yeah, the guidelines can be broken, but is this one of the circumstances that we want to kind of, decide to be extraordinary? And yes, it does provide a benefit to the resident or the homeowner, that it will provide a little more power for them to offset their utility costs, but we're not saying that they cannot do solar. We're saying there's those 5 panels that may be problematic for a home that's a historically designated home, even though it's an addition. And all these mitigating factors are, weighing one against one another, but it still is a designated property. It's not, it's the property itself, not just the one little portion of it. And even though it's an addition, it's still the property as a whole is looked as in its entirety. So I went into this thinking I'd be leaning one direction. I think I'm actually going the other direction at this point.
I couldn't have said that last statement is where I am too. I agree. John, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, on balance, I think I'd be far more comfortable if those 5 were deleted.
Yeah.
And even though it means a reduction in the efficiency of the system as designed, the system still is an efficient system.
Good comment. Thank you. Rudy?
Somebody has
Sorry, go ahead,
suggested us
Mr.
using that east roof. If I could rearrange the panels on the back roof to get, I know I can get one more panel on the back roof, and I probably could get 4 on that east roof. Would that be something that was acceptable? Because I don't think the east roof is very noticeable at all from the street.
Do we have a photo of the east? Like from the street?
Yeah, tech team.
I don't
if you
remember
can
seeing one.
Pull up page 44, please. So yeah, it's not visible from the street.
Yeah, you wouldn't see that at all.
Okay. All right. Rudy, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think I agree with your John. If we can relocate the 5 panels on the southwest side and onto the east side, that would be something that would be taken into consideration. And it again, you're going to capture some of the morning sun on that east side. So I don't know how much you would draw from the sun and restore on the east side, but I think it's something that need to be explored and taken into consideration. But
Can we clarify?
It seems that the 5 panel on the southwest side is partially visible to the street, and I think it's because of the city code. By relocating that to the east side, that would mitigate that issue.
And we're just talking about the rear of the east side, correct?
Yes. The rear of
Okay.
Mark, yours is a good point.
R6 roof.
That's a good point to bring into existence, Mark. If whoever gives the motion, if we are all leaning that way, please specify that it has to be the rear of the east roof.
And that's is Mr. Hunley said
That would
that's
be that
R6.
R6 roof that's on this drawing that you've got here now. Is that the roof we're talking about?
Yes.
Correct.
That's the one I'm talking about. I just want to make everybody's clear with which roof.
Yes,
Because
sir. That's good to point out. Thank you.
one more panel on that back roof by sliding that top row over, even with the second row down, and add one there. And there's probably enough room on that R6 roof to get 4 panels on it.
Okay.
Well, that's wonderful. Does that sound like an acceptable solution to you, Mr. Hunley?
That does to me.
Okay, Mark, did you have your hand up?
No, I was giving a
saw
thumbs
it
up.
But I didn't know. Oh, thumbs up. Good. All right. Well, that's wonderful. Does anybody have anything further to throw in before we go to a motion? I see and hear no one. Very good. All right. I'm open to a motion to approve with or without conditions or deny this application.
I would recommend we add a condition to work with staff to redesign the solar panels as discussed tonight.
I'm just joking. That sounds like a great suggestion.
That's something I can get to you as early as tomorrow.
Wow.
Probably.
All right,
Okay,
well, let me take a stab at it. I would move that the Historic District Commission, based on the exhibits submitted and staff's report, findings and recommendation, grant HIST 8886
do you want to do that number
2021.
over?
Pardon me?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that number? Because I thought I heard something different.
8886 2021.
Okay, thank you.
I beg you, I
Mine
am
says
wrong.
88.
It's
The
88.
solar, yeah, the solar panel
It
is.
is 64.
Yeah,
You're right, you're right. 8864 2021, dealing with solar panels at 100 Central Avenue, finding it to be in compliance with section 24-227.2 of the city code, with the condition that the applicant work with staff to see a possible relocation of those 5 panels currently on the southwest portion of the roof.
okay. Any other conditions that anyone wants to add at this point? I see in here no one. Okay, very good. May I have a second to the motion?
Second,
Second.
Okay, very good. Let's now go to the roll call for the vote. When I call your name, please say aye if you support the motion, nay if you don't, or abstain if you wish. Commissioner Morgan,
Aye.
Commissioner Roddy,
Aye.
Commissioner LaFrance,
aye.
Commissioner Feinstein,
Aye.
Commissioner Ventola says aye. Congratulations, 5-0. Good luck to you, and I think it's great. I think it's a great compromise, and thank you for your.
Okay,
Thank you.
my question is, so if I get the drawing redone to show where we're gonna actually be able to place them, I can send that in to the staff, and do I need to come wait for another meeting
Oh,
or?
it's approved.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep, you just send it to me
Time to
and
get these. They're anxious.
that's wonderful. Well, I'm glad I'm not stopping technology. I hate being the one to do that. So this is.
Have to reduce that carbon footprint.
Yes, we
Every
all
day you do that.
value that, your contribution. So thank you.
And that thing get your electric vehicle.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Only, for being so accommodating.
Thank you.
All
Thank you.
right, thank y'all.
Thank you very much. Wonderful. Okay. Next on our list is HIST 8886-2021, the screen porch addition at 32 Walker Avenue in the R90, which is the medium density residential zone. May we have an introduction from staff?
yes, if the tech team can pull up page 98, please. The subject property at 32 Walker Avenue is located at the corner of Walker and Russell Avenues. It is contributing to the Brooks, Russell, and Walker Historic District. The application comes before the HDC in accordance with section 24-227 of the city code. And next page, please. This is the front of the house along Walker Avenue. It was built circa 1899. The applicants, Cheryl Stafford and Steve Satterfield, seek HDC approval to build a one-story addition, which measures 143 square feet, and it will be a screen porch in the rear where the wood stoop is now located, as we'll see in a future photo. Page 100, next page, please. And this is the rear. This is how it looks along Russell Avenue. As you can see, there's tall, well-developed vegetation there. Next page, please. Page 101. The Historic District Design Guidelines for the Rooks, Russell, and Walker Historic District and individually designated sites apply. Under materials, the first bullet reads, "The historic character of a property shall be retained and preserved. The removal of historic materials or alteration of features and spaces that characterize a property shall be avoided." On the same page, under painting, the second bullet reads that all trim, including porch railings and floor, shall be stained or painted. If we can go to the next page, please. Even though they're building a screen porch, there's nothing under the porches section that applies in this instance, but guidance on lattice work is provided at the bottom of this page. If we can go to the next page, please. And this is the rear elevation of 32 Walker Avenue. The addition will be built to the right of the existing wood stoop and railing that you see kind of on the left side of the photo there. And next page, please. The applicant proposes the porch railing, balustrade, and post be either wood or wood wrapped in vinyl. And the applicant provided this photo of the railing on the neighbor's deck at 30 Walker Avenue to show that there is precedence for vinyl in the neighborhood. If we can go to the next page, please. These are the plans. So in preparation for construction of the addition, the existing wood landing at the rear door will be removed and the wood stairs rebuilt in kind. The posts will be placed on concrete footers placed 30 inches into the ground. The porch floor will be elevated approximately 3 feet above the ground. A balustrade will surround the porch and the area will be enclosed by screen. The porch floor will be built of Trex Select. 2 shed roof sections will be built over the additions. A smaller roof will be built over the stairs and the existing door, and the existing window and door configuration on the rear elevation will be retained. If we can go to the next page, please. And here are more construction details. Staff supports the addition with conditions. Staff notes that since the packet was posted, the applicant has supplied staff with more information on the proposed gutter and downspout locations. So the condition proposed in the staff report about providing more information on the drainage system is no longer relevant, and staff now only proposes 3 conditions instead of 4. So as for those conditions, the plans do not indicate the material to cover the roofs of the screened porch, so staff seeks a condition that the material is composition shingles to match those found on the existing house. And the next condition, staff or the applicant proposed either a wood and vinyl wrapped railing, balustrade, and post, but as mentioned, the applicant prefers it to be vinyl. Staff, however, does not support vinyl and seeks a condition that the railing, balustrade, and post are painted wood. The design guidelines for additions note that additions should harmonize with the character of the existing house and be compatible in materials. Staff notes that both the front porch columns and the existing rear stoop and stairs at the residence are painted wood, so the material and treatment already are established at the 32 Walker residence. And lastly, staff proposes a condition that the applicant be allowed the option to place lattice under the screened porch and encourages the applicant to do so. And joining us tonight, we have the property owner, Cheryl Stafford. So if you have any questions.
Welcome, Ms. Stafford. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Wonderful. Please, if you want to add anything what Chris so wonderfully presented.
No, thank you, Chris. I just wanted to say that the back stairs, the blue ones that you saw, they're actually falling apart. And now the squirrels have started chewing on them. So we figured, well, we have to replace them anyway. So we thought we would see if we could add a screened-in porch. Yeah, ignore the, I can't point to, but the wood, we were just getting an idea of maybe what a proposed porch would look like. That's what that wood stake is there. So that was the idea. And I was thinking, because I look over at my neighbors all the time, the Schulers, and they have a beautiful deck, and it does have a railing that is covered in vinyl. I thought, well, that would be nice to harmonize with that, and also it might be a little bit easier. However, my husband wants the painted wood, so whatever you approve is fine with us. So.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much for your input. Okay. Okay. Do we have anybody? Let me read for the public. The public is now invited to speak. To indicate that you want to make a comment, if you are on a computer or laptop, move your mouse to the bottom center of the Zoom window. You should see a raised hand button pop up. Click on that button and then we can call on you. If you're dialing in on a telephone, please press *9 to raise your hand.
And I see no one.
Okay, very good then. All right, so let's hear from the commissioners. When I call your name, please state your thoughts and questions for the applicant. Commissioner Morgan. You're on mute.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Ms. Stanford, for your effort in keeping this house up to date. 1899 it was built. That's a long time. And the addition to the house, the only issue I have, comment I have, is to maintain the railing, the baluster, and post. It must be painted wood.
Right.
The idea of vinyl, on a historical building is like, no. So that's my only comment.
Like I said, the only reason I got that idea was because of my neighbors.
Yeah,
And I don't know how they got that, but it's fine with me. It's
Yeah.
it's quite an extensive porch also. But like I said, painted wood is fine.
yeah. And the thing is to keep up with the character and the architecture of this building, for it to be harmonious to what is there. It is necessary to maintain this kind of material, wood and painted. That would be my suggestion.
Wonderful. Thank you, Commissioner Roddy.
I seem to be on the same wavelength with Commissioner Morgan this evening. I also agree with his view on the railings and balustrade. Not so much that I worry that the chewing squirrels will get tumors from the vinyl, but it's the historical accuracy. I agree. It should be wood.
Spoken like an attorney. Very good. Thank you. Commissioner LaFrance.
Yes, I have a question for Chris Berger, and more of a curiosity. The rear view of the house, it appears we're looking at an addition because the siding is different than the material to the main house. Is that correct? Do we know much about when that was installed?
I couldn't find any information. I would suspect it was done before the historic district was established.
We bought the house 3.5 years ago, and the people who lived here before that lived here about 10 years, and they said it was about 10 years before them. So it's 25 years old, and it also obviously is vinyl siding. So that was my other consideration. Well, it's already vinyl. But again, I'm happy with the painted wood.
Yeah.
Because you can see the rest of the house is all stucco.
Well, exactly.
Exactly right. So, but again, I don't know the exact date of the addition.
Okay, good. Well, thank you. I just thought that was interesting, and I just wanted to point it out. But I agree with my fellow commissioners that I believe it should be wood, and otherwise, I think it's an appropriate design.
Wonderful. Thank you, Commissioner Feinstein.
I agree with the other commissioners. I think it's a good design. I think it should definitely be painted wood. I think if you're ever looking to replace the rear siding, go back with a not a vinyl product in the future, but obviously that was done well before, so nothing you can do about it now. No, I think it'll be very nice for you guys.
Well, thank you very much. My only comment is I agree with all the comments. Okay, so it sounds like everybody spoke. We don't really need to do commissioners open forum unless somebody wants to jump in real quick. Doesn't sound like it. Okay, so may I have a motion to approve with or without conditions or deny this application? Yes, Mary Jo?
I would like us to, the Historic District Commission, based on the exhibit submitted, the applicant's testimony, and the staff report findings and recommendation, grant HIST 8886 2021 143 square foot rear addition, finding it to be in compliance with 24-227.2 of the city code with 3 conditions. 1, the porch roofs must be covered with composition shingle to match the shingles on the main house. 2, the railings, balustrade, and posts must be painted wood. 3, applicant has the option to place lattice underneath the proposed porch, and we, the Historic District Commission, encourage they choose to do that.
Okay, before we get a second, does anybody have any concerns with any of the requirements, the conditions, or does somebody want to pose another? And I see and hear no one. Okay, so we have a second to Mary Jo's motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you very much. And now let's take a roll call. Aye, nay, or abstain. Commissioner Morgan.
Aye.
Commissioner Roddy.
Aye.
Commissioner LaFrance.
Aye.
Commissioner Feinstein.
Aye.
Commissioner Ventola says aye. Another 5-0. Wow, congratulations, Ms. Stafford. And we're delighted that that you take such wonderful care of such a wonderful historic structure.
We love it.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, next then on our list, the agenda is tax credit applications, which is HIST. The only one we have tonight is HIST 8841-2021 Historic Tax Credit Certification at the 108 Chestnut Street in R90, which is the medium density residential zone. May we have an introduction from staff, please?
Yes, and we already have the aerial up. The subject property is non-contributing to the Chestnut Meem Historic District. If we can go to the next page, please. The applicant seeks $2,247.50 in Montgomery County historic tax credits to replace the roof on both the house and the detached garage. This is a before photo of the house from Google Street View. As you can see, the roof was in not so great condition. We can go to the next page, please. And here's another look from Street View. So another before photo. And next page, please. And the applicant provided this after photo that shows that the roof has in fact been replaced in kind. And if we can go to the next page, please. This is the garage roof that you can see is brand new. And next page, please. And just a close-up of the roof. Are there any questions?
That's a great question. Just everybody jump in. I don't think we really need to go round robin unless you guys think we should. Jump in if you have any thoughts. Mary Jo.
I just wanted to say, I'm not sure that legally I was supposed to disclose that this is my neighbor and the house is located in the historic district, but just in case,
No
I'd
problem.
like that to go on the record.
Okay,
And I also would like to say I've also been in this house.
wonderful, wonderful. All right. And again, everybody jump in, John, Mark.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to say that the roof is an absolutely essential
Mhm.
part of the preserving the integrity of the structure. This is a no-brainer.
Wonderful, thank you. Mark,
No issues.
Rudy?
No issue.
Great. For me, I love the before and the after. The after looks stunning. And I can't say this enough. I always love tax credit applications. It's, to me, the best part of our job because it really says that the people are already taking care of these historic structures. So I'm delighted to have funds go to help them out. And I encourage anyone who's listening who has a historic home to do the same. So great. All right. So then let's go to a vote. And let's see. It's may I have a motion? Excuse me. First, let's have a motion to certify with or without conditions or deny this application. So can somebody do a motion for that?
Sure, I would move that the Historic District Commission certify that the work completed at 108 Chestnut Street is eligible for the Montgomery County Historic Tax Credit Program.
Anyone
condition.
I'll second.
Very good. All right, let's go for a vote. Aye, nay, or abstain, and Commissioner Roddy.
Aye.
Commissioner LaFrance.
Aye.
Commissioner Feinstein.
Aye.
Commissioner Morgan.
Aye.
Commissioner Ventolo delightfully says aye. Another 5-0. Did we ever have that in the last in history? Right. Congratulations. Did we ever have 4, 5-0s?
I move for a bonus.
I'm sorry.
I move for a bonus.
Yeah. Okay, great. Next is anything from staff.
I just want to thank you all for attending the MAHDC virtual training earlier this month on design review. Hope you found it informative, and I hope you enjoyed the short commute home.
That was the best part. Anything from Frank or Greg? No? Good. All right. Anything else from the commissioners?
I have one question.
Yes, Mark.
Because Chris, in your statement right there, just raised the point. Is there any talk about when we should consider going back to live in-person meetings?
Greg, would you like to handle that one?
As of right now, I don't have any dates to provide to the commission on when we'll be back in person.
So you're itching to get back into the dais, Mark?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You are? I'm happy doing this. The commute home is so nice.
I would say there have been some
Very-
general discussions about expected dates. But you know, it very much depends on upcoming recommendations and how things may change, and sometimes it changes rather dramatically. But right now, a current discussion is the September timeline. If there's no change and things continue to improve and we do get to the point of, I guess, what's called herd immunity, with enough people being vaccinated that it truly is safe, then that may be a guideline, maybe around that day, maybe later. There's also some discussion in general of moving to a bit of a hybrid formula, but that's more with, I think that might be more with extensive applications, perhaps where somebody's out of town and not able to, for instance, if you have a team of folks where they're out of town. So that's the general sense, but we'll see. As Greg was saying, there's really not a firm timeline yet because we still have a lot more to learn.
Mary Jo, you were going to say something.
Yes, well, gosh, how time flies. I guess I just wanted to say that I am very excited that the city manager has given us permission to begin the historic designation of the properties that are already in the historic master plan. So Chris Berger, where do we start? And how is the Summit Hall Farm Park coming along for national recognition?
Well, as you know, we discussed this either last month or the month before. So yes, we have received the green light to list Summit Hall Farm on the National Register. We're in the initial stages. It's been partially begun a few years ago. I've reached out to some other staff who will also be collaborating on it. One of the issues is that the Montgomery County Archives, where a lot of the research information that we'd like to view, is currently closed to the public. So hopefully when that starts loosening, we can get over there and start delving into that information, because I think that's where a lot of our research lies, is in intensive archival research. But yeah, we've begun it. Plan is by the end of the year. So we have some priorities coming up immediately, but yeah, hopefully by the end of the year, we will have the National Register nomination completed.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, so my other question is, how many historic designation processes can happen at one time? Do we have to wait until the end of the year for the national designation for that? In the meantime, could we start looking at Wells Robertson House, for instance?
We could start looking and prioritize properties, but in terms of staff allocation time, I think it would be wise to just go one by one.
Yeah, that sounds really good. So I should expect if we meet again in a month that there'll be opportunity to prioritize and make a list and get ourselves together for where we should start.
Sure, we can revisit the list in the 2018 master plan.
Great. Thank you so much. Well, I, for one, am excited, and I hope the rest of you are as excited as I am, because to me, this is what we're here to do. So we need to get to it. That's it. That's all I have.
Well, all right, John or Rudy,
No.
any further thoughts? No? And Mark, you're good?
I'm good.
All right, we're hereby adjourned.
Thank you.